I regret all my life. I said I wish I should have been sleeping on the streets, begging God for help. I know He would have given me the help, the right help, instead of just going my way, like just accepting a man to help me. Yeah, I want separation, but in my condition, my pregnancy condition, I'm still having the fear in me, scared. How will I go? How will I survive it all through? How will I survive it during childbirth?
Intimate partner violence is one of the most prevalent forms of violence against women globally, with far-reaching consequences for the physical, reproductive, and mental health of women. Most reported cases of intimate partner violence are committed by men towards women. Men can also be victims of intimate partner violence. However, this series is focused on women. Grace, not her real name, tells of how she endured domestic violence while cohabiting with her partner for years.
My husband violated me. Not really my husband, but we're planning to get married. We've been together, and he has been violating me for a very long time. It was accommodation issue that brought me to his side. He helped me then. I was stranded, so he helped me. It was the only opportunity I have then. In fact, even then that he offered me the accommodation, I wasn't pleased with it. I was like, hey, because but I have no choice. I have to accept it. As of then, I wasn't pleased with it. I didn't really like it. So I just like, okay, I'll just stay a while. Then I'll work and save money and stay on my own till pregnancy came in. And because I have kids for him, it makes it difficult for me to separate with him, because every time I'll be thinking of the kids, until this time. And this very month ending, we're preparing for our traditional marriage. In fact, we're halfway gone. We have done almost everything. We're just waiting till month end, and then we'll travel for the traditional marriage. I run a salon. I have a worker in my shop, and she had accommodation issue, and she has a baby in her hand. She pleaded that she wants to sleep in my shop. So, and I considered it like, how can she come and be sleeping in the shop with a baby? So I decided to loan her money. So my husband now heard it. I now say, so you loan 35K to somebody. So you have that kind of money, and I'm looking for money. He started saying all manner of things, insulting me. I'm not a wife material, the wedding is cancelled, that he's not going to, I'm an animal. That was about around 9 p.m. in the night. From that 1 a.m. till 6 a.m., that is how this guy beat me, series of slaps. Even when I tried to escape, he ran after me, dragged me back, was dragging me on the floor like a dead animal. That sustained injuries in my back. And it was, in fact, I can't recall series of slap and beating, hitting on my body. Like right now, I'm still feeling pains.
Let's look at the realities of things. Many of the people who are in the situations of sexual and gender-based violence are already victims of the gender gap occasioned by the patriarchal ideologies, in the society that we live in. And what does that translate to? So you have so many situations where men tell their women to prove that the women are in love with them and drop their means of livelihood to be totally dependent on the men, as a strategy to control the women, right? Now, the law recognizes this, and when I say the law, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act recognizes this as forced financial dependence, which is criminal. So, with people in that situation, if there's violence done to them, they already don't have a fallback plans for means of livelihood, because they are totally dependent on their abusers. They need support from a completely independent source, a different source independent of their abusers. And the government has not realistically met survivors of sexual and gender-based violence at that point of need. This now has occasioned for us to come in, right? So it means they don't have money to either rent an apartment. They probably do not have money for the basic hygiene needs. They do not have money for food. Where they have children, they do not have money for school fees. They don't have money to feed the children. If the children are babies, it's even worse off sometimes because of what they're going through. It may disrupt their breastfeeding habits and all of that, and so they now need to depend on processed food, which they do not have money to afford. A lot of women are stuck with their abusers because the government has not set in place systems to ensure that should they speak up, there is help, practical help, I mean.
Grace's help came when she was introduced to the Dorothy Njemanze Foundation Safe House.
First I came and rushed me to the hospital. Then she now called the Dorothy Foundation. Before they now came, took me to hospital, take care of me, brought me to this place.
We also have a safe house. We have a shelter, a safe shelter, where we render temporary shelter accommodation. And because that's one primary need we have found that people really need in the event of exposure to trauma that arises from sexual or gender-based violence. And now we're doing a lot of advocacies around the well-being and welfare of first responders to sexual and gender-based violence, alongside the well-being and welfare of survivors of sexual and gender-based violence when they need to exit. What's the exit strategy from the shelters? We found out that before now, what was imposed on survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, which is forcing them to go and stay with their relatives, is not the way forward because it exposes many survivors to multiple layers of violence they didn't anticipate.
Apart from individuals and NGOs, one would question what is the government doing to provide safe spaces for victims of sexual and gender-based violence?
I know of two. We have one in Kurudu. It's managed by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs in collaboration with FCT Social Development. And there's also another in Nyanya. And I'm not sure of the Buari, but I know we have safe spaces to take care of sexual and gender-based violence victims.
Law enforcement agencies are also supposed to be of help in such situations, but that is not always the case.
The nurse there told us that we should make police report first. I said, kai. And there's a police close to the health center. So when we came out, my sister said we should make report. I didn't want to, because I know the way they will handle it, the kind of question they'll be asking yourself will worsen your case. I didn't want to just go to the police because it's not a happy matter. The last time he beat me, I went to Papi police station. I reported. The only thing they told me, they said since there's no legal marriage right between us, I should just look for a place and just pack and go. They took a statement from me, and that day they asked me to pay 1,000 naira, and I didn't have the money. In fact, that day I even trekked to the police station. I didn't have the money, so I didn't pay. And I don't know whether they documented the statement, but I wrote a statement that day. So I was not the one that told them that, please, can this be confidential? They don't treat issues confidentially.
Primarily before now, the terrain had favored perpetrators. The terrain, and let's not forget the amount of corruption that exists, right? And why did I say the terrain favored perpetrators? All that needed to be done was, for a case to be reported, then the perpetrator looks for as much money as possible to quell the case. And then it becomes business as usual again for the perpetrator.
Some of them don't really understand where such matters should be addressed to. Most of these matters, if you want a quick justice, you go to family court. In family court, they don't delay such issues. They go hand in hand to see that justice is being, because justice delay is justice denied. So with the VAP and the other laws, if you go to family court, you get justice there and then. But if you say you are going to either high court or magistrate court, there are a lot of cases that are lined up and it will follow suit. But in family court, it's strictly for matters dealing with children, families, and they are being taken the way they come, and they address them as fast as possible.
Grace says Dorothy Njemanze Foundation Safe House is giving her a second chance to start right.
It has been a wonderful experience. When I met the lady that attended to me first, where she welcomed us. In fact, our first attempt to us, I was like, wow, I was not even having money. I was like, how will we pay? My sister was like, no, it's free. I said, free. I said, please let me hear word. There's nothing like free in this world, not to talk about Nigeria. What's going to happen after this? Okay, now I need support to boost up my business because I'm just starting. I just opened the shop and I have good ideas to run the business in a way that it will help me financially.